Tappei has just released Arc 8 Chapter 49, and this video will be a summary of the chapter. And by the way, you guys, I do know that I'm like 2 or 3 days late with this chapter video. Halibel is the strongest in Kararagi. He is a man with great ability, recognized with a bitter look even by Obart, the Empire's most powerful shinobi. Along with the Sword Saint, Mad Prince, and Blue Thunderbolt, who are all rated in the same class. The only difference is that Halibel has no allegiance to a location, instead referring to himself as a Ronin. The Sword Saint is bound by treaty to Lagunica, the Mad Prince is imprisoned as a national traitor, and even the Blue Thunderbolt has a position as a divine general. Only Halibel is free without a title. Of course, Halibel likes Kararagi, his hometown. However, he refuses to be owned by someone, owned like a bargaining chip. He is a man known for his whims, known as the Admirer. He also has the ability to evaluate anyone from an objective point of view. What a bad character you are, there's no love. This is what Halibel says to Yugard Valakia. Halibel himself has no feelings towards the opponent in front of him. He was impressed by the undead's abilities. However, he had no admiration. Yugard Valakia wielded famous swords. He took off his jacket. Groovy tries to speak, but Halibel tells him to stop, stating that it's being left to the curse expert. Saying this, Halibel thinks of a boy. Halibel remembers that the boy said that this battle was pivotal over the capital. Halibel notes that Yugard also has the curse of Thorns on his chest. There's two possibilities. One, that the curse affects even the caster, or a second possibility. Halibel is asked by Yugard if he is a werewolf, and Halibel says that he is, and that he's currently in a mess considering he's in Valakia, especially with what Valakians do with werewolves. Yugard swings his sword, and Halibel is cleaved in two. Yugard raises his sword, stating that the werewolves and earthen rats will be eradicated as an example for the crimes that they have been committing. However, Halibel says that he remembers. The Emperor is a reason for the near extinction of the werewolves. Halibel's body collapses into hair, and multiple Halibels appear behind Yugard, attacking him. Yugard is taken by surprise, and we see that a third Halibel appears from underground and drags Yugard to the ground. Yugard swings his sword, burning one of the Halibels to a corpse, and he slashes at the ground and jumps out of the hole. The number of Halibels increase, back to 3, attacking Yugard, who wields the Yang Sword and Demon Sword Murazame. 2 Halibels crush Yugard's eye and torso. However, Yugard tells Halibel to not plot against him, activating the Yang Sword and causing the entire area around him to burn. All 3 Halibels were caught and burned. Yugard walked out, regenerating the burned skin he had gotten from the attack. He turns and notices that Groovy was gone. Yugard was wise and he was competent. In the heat of battle, he was learning. We see that Halibel is with Groovy someplace away, saying that Groovy can die due to the poison inside of him. Groovy, with slurred speech, asks how Halibel is dealing with the curse. We see that Halibel admires Groovy's Valakian drive to fight, but Halibel is currently taking Groovy away from the battlefield, as it is a condition for victory. Halibel could usually use power to defeat enemies. However, in this case it was different. His opponent was not a fool. And on top of that, there was another condition to fulfill, removing the curse of Thorns. Halibel looked at his chest. The thorns were gone, but Halibel had not removed the thorns himself. So what was the condition? Groovy says that it's disgusting. Halibel says it looks like he and Groovy came up with the same idea. Halibel came up with two possibilities regarding the thorns on Yugard's chest. The first possibility was that everyone within a radius is affected. However, there was a second possibility, something more likely. The reason why Yugard was also affected was because Yugard was in fact cursed, and he was the person amplifying the curse to nearby people. The scene changes. The curse on Yugard Wallachia was part of the sabotage on the election ceremony, the long-standing imperial succession in Wallachia. It is now unclear how many sorcerers and how many members of Wallachian royalty was involved in the plot. However, there was a cruel plot that reduced the number of participants. The curse of Thorns on Yugard Wallachia was cruel and simple. The curse would bind to one's heart and erode the organ. Yugard was afflicted with the curse, and it was also applied to those around Yugard. If Yugard cried out in pain, those around him would of course try and come close, and they would also be afflicted by the curse of Thorns. This was intended to make Yugard die in solitude. Due to the curse, Yugard was not supposed to even reach the imperial selection, and instead become a casualty. That was the goal anyway. However, there was an unusual coincidence that changed the fate of the Empire. Yugard was born painless, meaning that he felt no pain. The curse of thorns that was applied to him didn't affect him, and instead spread to those around him. As a result, he was left alone. Yugard lived alone, with no one being able to get close to him. Of course, there was times when he would have to interact with other people, causing them to be afflicted with the curse of thorns. Rumours would spread that Yugard casted the curse, and he did not deny the rumour. In fact, Yugard did not even know himself if the curse was placed on him by others, or if he in fact activated the curse on his own. And therefore, the King of Thorns walked a long and lonely life. The curse made Yugard lonely, and in some respects, the aim of the curse actually did succeed in giving Yugard solitude. Wouldn't it be more comforting to count the stars in the sky than to gaze at the darkness? The girl who approached him crossed the thorns of Yugard. It was a great help to him. The scene changes. "I thought you would run away, werewolf." Halibel says that he didn't even think about it. Yugard wasn't upset that Halibel left the battlefield and then rejoined the battlefield. In a way, they were similar. Halibel, a werewolf, Yugard's greatest enemy. Yugard's conduct made it so that any werewolf, or even half werewolf, anywhere in the world would be killed on sight. Therefore, it's only natural for Halibel to feel the same level of hatred towards Yugard. Halibel smokes his pipe whilst he thinks of Anastasia. Halibel says that they have the same reasons. Both have reasons to destroy each other. If Halibel, however, beats Yugard, he will not fulfill this condition. Therefore, Halibel says, "I will free you from your curse, and therefore make you a mere king, King of Thorns." And with that, the chapter ends. So, quite an interesting chapter. So, Yugard's curse was a curse that was actually placed on him, and because he doesn't feel pain, he's not actually affected by the curse, which means people around him are. So it seems that Halibel has to dispel the curse of thorns and essentially make Yugard useless. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully we have like one chapter left. I'm still waiting to see what happens with Todd. Where's Todd? But yeah, good chapter. There should be another chapter soon. Hopefully tomorrow or the day after. But I'll speak to you guys later. And sorry for taking so long.